The case that I chose for week 6 is case study 2.29, Rispone versus Louisiana State University and Agricultural and Mechanical College. It was in the First Circuit of the Appeals Court in Louisiana, and it happened in 1994. This is an appeal case, and it challenges numerous aspects of the trial court's liability and quantum determinations. The book states that after a thorough review of the court record, that no error was found in the trial court rulings, and that those who wrote this book that we get our cases out of affirm and agree with the rulings that were stated in the original case. In this appeal, the plaintiff is Joseph Samuel Rispone, and he filed originally a tort suit against LSU and its Board of Supervisors. A tort is simply a civil wrong, and they are used as grounds for a lawsuit in a civil case. Rispone suffered an injury at Alex Box Stadium, which is LSU's baseball stadium, on May 28, 1990. The game that he was attending determined whether or not LSU would go to the College World Series and had been rescheduled twice within this week for rain, and it had rained the weekend before the game and also the day of the game. Rispone's seat was located on the left field baseline in a temporary set of bleachers, and the pathway to his seat had puddles of water and mud, and also what mud and water was being tracked up into the actual section of the bleachers where he was sitting. Later in the game, Rispone and his companions decided that they wanted to move seats. When Rispone ventured down the bleachers, he hit an awkward step, according to him, and he fell face forward. And as a result of the fall, Rispone broke 2 ribs and ruptured his Achilles tendon. When the evidence was presented in trial court, the court ruled that LSU did not use reasonable care to provide a safe environment for the fans during this specific game. The court also stated that the fall was caused by a non-uniform step that was present on the temporary bleachers, and LSU knew of this step and did not take the necessary measures to fix it. The fall could have been prevented had LSU remedied the step situation or posted a warning about a step not being uniform with the rest. 90% of the blame was placed on LSU for negligence, and the other 10% was placed on Mr. Rispone for his lack of attentiveness. Through this ruling, Rispone was awarded $24,260.78 in lost wages that he lost while having to miss work, and also $80,000 for the damages that he faced physically. LSU appealed the ruling, challenging the liability and how the fault was placed and what exactly caused the fall to occur. They also appealed the monetary awards that Rispone was assigned. However, Rispone also appealed, stating that he should not be at fault for 10% of the incident that occurred. During the appeal, LSU stated that the non-uniform step did exist in the bleachers where Mr. Rispone's seat was located, but that it was non-uniform because the bleachers did not fit together perfectly. A normal step in the bleachers is 12 inches, and the step that caused Mr. Rispone's fall was 1 inch. However, LSU insists that the non-uniform step did not make the step any riskier than the rest that are in existence. These specific bleachers had existed for 3 years, and no accident had happened prior to Mr. Rispone's fall at this baseball game. LSU also stated that the non-uniform step was obvious to all of the fans that were in attendance, and therefore there was no need for a warning or a remedy to happen to the step. Because this is an appeal, the facts that were established in the original ruling cannot be disturbed in the absence of manifest error. Manifest error is an error that is obvious and indisputable. Because of this, the appeal court cannot and will not disturb the original ruling for either party. And before the accident, Rispone was very athletic and active and was also a climber for electrical inspections. Since the injury, Rispone had been found to suffer from 12% disability of his lower body, and because of this, he cannot climb or use a ladder anymore, which has changed his job duties. The awards that were given to Mr. Rispone are backed by evidence, and therefore the amounts cannot be changed. Because of this, LSU was also assigned the cost of the appeal, which totaled $419.73 on top of the awards that were given to Rispone. Some of the implications that would happen for the athletic director in this situation would be that this athletic director needs to understand the importance of risk management and safety for all that are in attendance to games, including those who are just watching in the stands. The athletic director at LSU should have assigned someone to clean up the bleachers to remove the mud and water, and also post a sign that points out the non-uniform step. On a daily basis, we all face difference in leveling of ground we are walking on or steps that must be climbed or descended, and with the addition of a sign that states to be aware of this, you are not only decreasing the risk of injury, but you are saving your program from being liable for a lawsuit. This could affect the AED greatly because if it is found to be his or her fault and not the school's fault, then the grade awards that were assigned to Rispone in this case could have come out of the athletic director's pocket. While LSU did not want to pay the money, they certainly have more money than one individual. In the future, LSU's athletic director needs to have specific safety assignments assigned to those who are working an event, and he or she needs to follow up with the tasks that are assigned to make sure that they are completed. By doing this, the environment will be safe and the risk of lawsuit will significantly decrease.